JPerm has started a second channel based entirely away from speed cubing. Many of the top creators have slowed down in making videos, and most importantly, I haven't posted in nearly 6 months. So is this enough evidence to prove that cubing might be on its way out? In this video, I am going to be covering why I think cubing is dying, what has led up to this point, and what has to change if we want any chance of this hobby surviving. Well, to begin, let me tell you why I haven't picked up a cube in such a long time. And the main reason is that I generally have not been finding cubing that fun anymore. And I think this is echoed similarly throughout the entire community. There are a couple of things that have caused this, and the first and most obvious is the sheer lack of exciting releases. This is something that is talked about really often, so I'll keep this short. But I think that the last cube everyone was excited for was the X-Man Tornado version 3, and that was released over a year ago now. You could argue that the GAN 14 was somewhat exciting, but to be honest, I didn't pay that much attention to that release, which is why I don't know too much about it. But in general, cubes need to be innovative for people to enjoy this hobby, but I'll cover that in more detail in the later parts of this video. So now let's move away from what I am feeling like and start to focus on the general community. One of the big things that I'm seeing now is that there is so much less of an interest in results compared to a couple of years ago. Before, everyone really cared about who was the fastest, and the battle between Max and Timon was a really exciting time. But if you just look at the world record videos now, they have gotten barely any views compared to the previous years, even after a good couple of months. And that's a shame, because one of the big things that would really help cubing grow is having a very competitive group of speed cubers who are constantly one-upping each other to be the best. But that just isn't happening, which means that we only hear about competition results every 4 or 5 months, because no big things are changing in the meantime. It's not just the lack of care for results, because I do still think people are interested, but more so how infrequent changes are happening, which means we get stuck in this weird area of nothing for long periods of time. And that will kill any hobby or community. It's just extremely apparent in speed cubing. I just wanted to stop the video here to say that I found someone on Reddit who predicted 5 years ago that world records would start to become significantly less frequent, and therefore the hype would die. And I think this perfectly sums up the point I'm trying to make. It's just they said it 5 years ago. Another reason why I think cubing is dying is that people are so much less interested in physical products compared to digital items. What this means is that I feel people would much rather scroll through the never-ending algorithms on TikTok over picking up a cube to scramble and solve it. As we get so much deeper into digital media controlling our lives, we have become so taken over by the systems that are trying to prevent us from living normally. TikTok, YouTube and Instagram all learn off your activity to make their apps cater to you in the most efficient way so you stay on for longer. But this just means we are all wasting so much time, and everyone seemingly prefers to watch someone else cube rather than doing it themselves. And like I mentioned at the start of this video, it's not as if many people are uploading content as much anymore, which means everyone is just watching other videos that have nothing to do with cubing. Now, I'm not saying this is a thing that has happened in the past few months, because it's not. Algorithms have been growing for many years, but they just keep getting better, which means in the past months we have definitely seen this happening more frequently. So now let's move on to what has led up to this point. And much like before, I think the first point is obvious, which is that there are no longer any interesting releases from cube companies. Everyone is just repackaging last year's product and calling it something new, when in reality there are very few actual changes. This means that there is no excitement around releases, because everyone already knows that nothing is actually going to be different. And I think that a lot of people saw this coming from a few years ago. Ever since the GAN 12 was released, which was such a disappointment compared to the excitement of the GAN 11, it just started to become clear that if no one innovated, then cubing would soon start to become less and less about the cubes which we use. And that's a shame, because before, this was one of the major things that influenced the growth of this hobby. Another thing that has led up to this point is the vast skill gap within cubing. For someone like me who has been doing it for many years, it's so demotivated when you just aren't getting the improvements that you would like to see. This is the same with any sport or competitive hobby, and is by no means the fault of anyone within this community. It's just a naturally occurring thing that happens when other people improve at such a rapid rate. And I can already imagine the comments saying that it's just me being jealous of people putting in 10 times the effort that I am and reaping the reward of that effort. To which I can't argue. I don't put in as much effort, and I would love to be as good as other cubers. So yes, I am jealous, but I definitely think that this is an important thing to talk about in this video. So what can be done to remedy the decline decline of cubing? Well, once again, we just need innovation within the technology of cubes. This of course isn't as easy as it sounds, and I'm sure that all of the big companies are trying as hard as possible to find this new big innovation. But for the time being, it's clear that it isn't coming quite yet. But I've spoken about this too much, so I'm going to get on to some other more interesting solutions. The first of which involves you. As you have heard, cubing content creators are dying out, and this community needs new up and coming people who can bring an exciting, never before seen twist to their videos. Which is why, if you're thinking about starting a cubing YouTube channel, make sure that you do something that is different to all of the other people, because if this hobby is to grow again, it needs people with genuine new ideas that viewers can be interested in. Next, I think that there should be a change to the competition structure, whether that be a 1v1 format tournament or a new event that puts everyone at a more equal starting point. There needs to be something that changes the scene and brings new people into the competitive side of the hobby. Many people have spoken about a live competition with high stakes and knockout stages, and I truly believe that this could massively increase viewership to this community. And where there are views, there will come people to capitalize on those views, which is where the new creators blow up or the old creators start posting more, which would revive the community. And so that's pretty much all I have to say. Make sure to leave your opinions on this video down below, whether that be in complete disagreement or full agreement. I'd really like to see what you all think about the points I've made. Thanks for watching.